From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
And it is 5 o'clock here on your Tuesday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
Good morning, I'm Rafael Sanchez, and these are your headlines on this December the 1st. Overnight gunfire on the city's west side sends one man to the hospital, the latest on this ongoing investigation.
A startling report shows how the pandemic is impacting young people in the Hoosier state. We're digging deeper into this scary statistic and what can be done to correct it.
And here's some good news on this Tuesday. Nearly 100 jobs are headed to the Circle City. Hiring Hoosiers, highlighting the company now investing in the city's east side. Welcome to Good Morning Indiana. It is the first day of December, as the calendar would say, but Lauren and Todd, as the kids would say, it's just 24 days before Christmas.
That's right. A lot of people saying, I can't believe it is December. Who would have thought December, we're all still separated here, but here we are, Todd, and it is a chilly one. It feels like December out there this morning.
You know, it's cold. December is one of the coldest months, not the coldest. That usually is the month of January, but it is going to be chilly out there from start to finish today as temperatures are below normal here this morning and will continue to run below normal throughout the afternoon. Now, as far as the snow goes, I know some of you saw some minor accumulation yesterday. Radar is nice and quiet for us. A few flurries here up in northern portions of Indiana. If you see one of those flurries, it's not going to cause any additional issues on the roadways. That is the good news. Any accumulating snow is well off to our east in Ohio. And you notice there's a little bit of cloud cover in spots, but that is just about it. But look at these temperatures. We're down in the 20s in Indy as well as Bloomington, 26 in Terre Haute. When you factor in the wind, which is still gusty, you've probably heard it at times throughout the overnight hours, maybe even woke you up at times. It feels like 15 right now in Peru, 16 is the wind chill value in Indy, and 18 is what it feels like in Bloomington as we work our way throughout the day today. Any clouds this morning will give way to sunshine throughout the day, so it turns into a bright day for us on this Tuesday. Unfortunately, even with the sunshine, we really don't warm up a whole lot as high temperatures will only be climbing up into the low to mid 30s. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at your commute. This is I-65, a little north of 38th Street on the northwest side. You can see that traffic here is moving along up to speed, both northbound and southbound. Watch out for some slick spots out there. You can see it looks like we have a little bit of ice on our camera up this way, so just use caution out there for your Tuesday morning drive. New from overnight, Metro Police are investigating a shooting. This happened at a West Side gas station. Officers were called to the Express Pantry near 38th and High School Road just after 2 this morning. When they arrived, they found a man with a gunshot wound. Our crew on the scene reports a number of bullet markers. We're told that the victim was rushed to Eskenazi Hospital. He was last listed in critical condition. Let's go now to the coronavirus pandemic and how it continues to impact Hoosier families. This morning, the state health department reports more than 5,700 new coronavirus cases. Since the pandemic began, nearly 339,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19. Health officials also confirm 38 more Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. Since the pandemic began, nearly 5,500 Hoosiers have died with the virus. And this morning, the state's hospitals are feeling the impacts of the surge in coronavirus cases. At this hour, 24% of the state's ICU beds are available. 70% of the ventilators remain available as well. Raphael.
So, Lauren, doctors are learning more about a condition known as COVID-19 pneumonia. It's a complication that develops for some patients when the infection reaches their lungs. Doctors say they're starting to see more of this more often. Elaine Robbins is staying hopeful as her husband Mark battles COVID-19 pneumonia. He appeared to be fine at first, but in a matter of weeks, their lives have been flipped upside down by the coronavirus.
Even if he has COVID, it's only a fever and a headache. And I didn't know, like, you can have horrible pneumonia with no cough. And that's this COVID, it's like bionic. It's weird. It's ninja, you know, people can have it, no symptoms.
The doctors are still learning more about this COVID-19 pneumonia. They say it usually develops in both lungs, unlike other forms of pneumonia. As we learn more about the virus, doctors encourage anyone feeling lingering symptoms of COVID to seek medical attention right away. Now, some people are still experiencing the effects of the virus up to 6 months after recovering. IU Health established an ICU Survivor Center back in May in response to the virus. Dr. Sikander Khan says 60% of patients have complained of a low quality of life.
We are seeing a variety of symptoms in patients even as far as 6 months from their initial illness and admission to the hospital. Everything from mental health changes, so depression, anxiety, PTSD, to sleep changes, a lot of difficulty sleeping, and then a lot of weakness. Their stamina is not the same, they get easily fatigued, and they have a lot of pain in their body.
Dr. Khan says patients who are older with more medical problems will often have longer recoveries, but that's not always the case.
We were quite taken aback that even our young patients, so our youngest being 22 years of age that we have already seen in our ICU Survivor Center, even those patients were having a lot of difficulty adjusting back to life after COVID.
The IU Health ICU Survivor Center is available to any patient after an ICU stay. That includes patients admitted from other hospitals. This morning, the pandemic has placed mental health front and center. Our Kelsey Anderson has found that suicide attempts are up among adolescents from the previous year. Kelsey has a story this morning behind those numbers. Kelsey?
Hey, good morning, Raphael. So a jarring statistic this morning. Suicide attempts among adolescents are up 39% compared to last year. So I spoke to a clinical psychologist at Riley, and she tells me in the month of November in 2020, they saw 17 children in for suicide attempts. That's compared to just 4 in 2019.
When you look at studies and things right now, mental health needs are up with COVID going on.
Hillary Blake is a clinical psychologist at Riley Hospital for Children. She says studies don't show that COVID-19 is the exact reason for the rise in suicide attempts among adolescents.
When you look at past studies, a lot of them are just saying in general, seeing more suicide attempts from year to year.
She says suicide is the second leading cause of death among young adults, adolescents, and children. She says the large majority of those who try to attempt suicide are diagnosed with depression.
Signs of depression, which we know is having a depressed mood, so sadness. We see it a lot as irritability in adolescents and children too, or just lack of interest in things. Not everything's boring, nothing's fun anymore. Also, other symptoms of depression are appetite changes, concentration problems, just moving slower than they used to move, feelings of worthlessness or excessive guilt, and suicide ideation are big things that we look for. So if parents are seeing this, the biggest thing is to seek out mental health treatment.
Blake says the biggest factor they see in adolescents is strained relationship with family members.
So I think the best thing that we know is that family and connectedness to the community is definitely a protective factor for suicide. So having parents sit down and validate their children's feelings and their problems and take them seriously and make them feel heard is a big thing that we can do as parents.
So she says it's important that parents use language that validates their child's feelings instead of saying what they're feeling is silly or that they shouldn't feel that way. Another thing she says, it's important that we also talk about mental health and not stigmatize it because there are a lot of children right now who are dealing with those mental health issues. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you. Mandatory virtual learning started in Marion County on Monday, and many schools outside of the county are also going completely remote because of COVID complications. This new normal is bringing in a lot of interest to Indiana Digital Learning School. Anne Marie Dahill enrolled her daughter after she struggled with her school's e-learning back in the spring. The digital school is fully accredited and it serves students from across the state from kindergarten through 12th grade. In addition, 2,000 students enrolled this year.
We had families wanting to just be proactive and go ahead and just switch to a full-time virtual program because they felt maybe there was more consistency in that with the unknown ahead.
I like it more because I learned more than what I did.
Well, Indiana Digital Learning School is accepting applications, but right now students can only enroll if other students leave.
So, Lauren, new this morning, the federal corrections complex in Terre Haute has the attention of Kim Kardashian West. The actress is pushing to stop the pending execution of Brandon Bernard. He's convicted of kidnapping and killing a pair of Texas youth ministers back in 1999. Bernard was 18 years old at the time. In a series of tweets, Kardashian West called Bernard to serve a life sentence rather than face lethal injection. Bernard is scheduled to be executed on December the 10th.
Hiring Hoosiers is connecting you to career resources and keeping track of job opportunities across central Indiana. And this morning, nearly 100 new jobs are heading to Indianapolis's east side. Bloomington-based Cook Medical is planning a 40,000 square foot facility near 38th and Sheridan. Dozens of future employees will make catheters, needles, and other tools used during surgery. Goodwill Industries will operate and hire employees for Cook Medical, but before the first employees report to work, Cook has set a goal to hire all minority contractors to build the facility.
And our goal is to hire people as close and as local to the community as we can. We don't want this to be a facility where people drive in and drive out. We want this to be part of the community.
The hiring process for the future Cook Medical facility is on the east side. It will begin on January. Most production positions begin at $13 an hour, and we'll let you know when that new facility starts hiring. At 5:10, let's check in with Todd in today's chilly forecast.
Yeah, Lauren, we still have a couple winter weather advisories out there. You may see them scrolling on the top of your screen there. Just want to quickly point out, it's just off to the east in Richmond and a couple right along the lakeshore in northern Indiana, and they will expire pretty quickly. So even though you see the advisory on your screen, we do not have a lot more in the way of additional snow coming our way. It's just kind of left over from yesterday for a few slick spots on the roadways. And just be a little careful as you do take to the roadways where temperatures are now all below freezing anywhere you go across the area. The wind, that has not diminished as of yet from where it was yesterday afternoon and evening, but as we progress throughout the day, you will notice the winds start to relax a little bit. That is the good news. The problem is the wind direction doesn't change. It's still going to be out of the west to northwest throughout the day, and that's going to prevent our temperatures from warming much at all, which is not a good thing when you're starting the day off with temperatures in the 20s. So as you head to work here this morning, mostly cloudy skies, on average about 26 with wind chills in the teens. Coming home, plenty of sunshine, but high temperatures today are going to struggle to get above freezing. And when you factor in that breeze, it's going to feel like it's in the 20s this afternoon. So make sure you bundle up. More in your extended forecast coming up in just a couple minutes.
Todd, thank you. A major step forward today. Still ahead, how a meeting will determine who will get that COVID vaccine first. Details on that on this December 1st, right here on WRTV. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. And this morning, more Americans are hospitalized than ever before with COVID-19. As ABC's Alex Brachet reports, with hopes of a vaccine on the horizon, today authorities will give recommendations on who should get it first.
This morning, a major step forward in getting Americans immunized from COVID-19. Today, a panel advising the CDC will help prioritize who's immunized first. Health officials have long said seniors with underlying health conditions and medical workers should be at the front of the line. But what's presented today is non-binding. Ultimately, it's up to state and local officials to decide. Military members aiding in distribution say all other Americans will be able to get a shot by June.
100% of Americans that want the vaccine will have had the vaccine by that point in time.
The vaccine ready to ship across the country within 24 hours of the government authorizing it for emergency use, something expected after December 10th. More Pfizer's vaccine has now arrived in the U.S. from Belgium, and Moderna has also applied for emergency use authorization for its vaccine. Dr. Anthony Fauci says although a vaccine is on the horizon, people need to continue avoiding crowds, wearing masks, and practice social distancing.
Help is on the way, but it's not here yet. So we can do these things, and we can prevent an even further escalation.
More than 96,000 people are now hospitalized with the virus across the country. California's governor now considering new stay-at-home orders. In New York, they're canceling elective surgeries in some areas and identifying retired healthcare workers who could return to duty. And Ohio's governor asking anyone who can work from home to do so. Overnight, Dr. Scott Atlas, a radiologist with no training in infectious diseases, resigned as one of President Trump's top coronavirus advisors. Atlas, controversial with many public health experts for questioning the effectiveness of masks and urging people to push back on public safety measures. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
And with the hopes of a coronavirus vaccine on the horizon, Homeland Security investigators say fake websites are already popping up. Homeland Security says that they are working with Pfizer and Moderna to help distinguish what's real and what's fake. Officials worry the emergency nature of the vaccine delivery will make people less cautious. Investigators are already working with the companies to help educate people about what's real and what's a scam.
So, Lauren, a record-breaking hurricane season is finally over, giving many people a break. The Colorado State University's meteorology team, they predicted a very busy hurricane season back on April the 2nd. At the time, they estimated 16 named storms and 8 hurricanes. The season ended with 30 named storms, 13 hurricanes, and 6 major hurricanes. A hurricane made landfall in every month of hurricane season and set several records for the earliest named storms. Meteorologists say a named storm impacted every mile of coastline between Texas and Maine. And Todd, that is quite a record for 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ginger Z yesterday on Good Morning America was saying in the Gulf Coast, every single county except for one in Florida was under some sort of tropical storm or hurricane warning or watch throughout the course of this season. Thankfully, that's coming to an end. Here in central Indiana, we were dealing with our first winter storm yesterday. It didn't amount to a whole lot in the way of snowfall across most of the area. We had some minor accumulations off to the east of Indianapolis. Thankfully, the heavier accumulations were in Ohio, where it is still snowing, by the way, if you are heading in that direction. But here the snow is over. It's a cold stretch of weather for us, so temperatures are going to remain below normal for both afternoon highs and morning lows, at least for the next 7 days. With that said, it's also a quiet stretch of weather as we have no storm systems heading in our direction. 20s and 30s this morning as you walk out the door. 28 in Indy as well as Martinsville and Greenfield, 27 in Bloomington, 27 in Tipton as well. Richmond with a little more snow on the ground, temperature down to 24 degrees. But look what happens when you factor in the wind. Good stretch of the central portion of the state has wind chill values that are in the teens right now. It feels like 15 in Peru, 16 is what it feels like in Indy, 18 is the real feel temperature in Bloomington. And as we go throughout the course of the morning, our actual temperatures really not going to move much at all here throughout the morning. So they're not going to drop off a whole lot more, but they're not going to climb once the sun comes up. And we are going to be locked in with temperatures this afternoon that are going to struggle to even get to the freezing mark. Now, there's a little bit of cloud cover in spots, but you see most of the accumulating snow continues to fall in Ohio. Cleveland getting really hit hard here throughout the day today. In Pittsburgh, there's some winter storm warnings in that area as well. And that storm system will continue to head off towards the east. If you have travel in that direction, just be aware of that. Back to our west, though, where our weather is coming from, it's nice and quiet, not only for today, but the coming days as well. 32 is all we can do today in Kokomo as well as Logansport. 34 in Frankfort, about 33 in Anderson. 34, your high temperature here in Indy as you work your way to the south. A couple degrees warmer with highs, though, still only in the 30s. And honestly, even though the wind is going to continue to subside here throughout the day, it's going to feel like it's in the 20s throughout much of the afternoon, so make sure you bundle up. Maybe you're heading to State Fairgrounds to ride through the Christmas display there. Temperatures in the 20s here this evening under a mainly clear sky, and then tomorrow morning when you wake up, it's the coldest temperatures I have in my 7-day planning forecast. I wouldn't be shocked if there's some actual teens across parts of the area. A low of 22 in Indy, 21 in Bloomington, and then throughout the day tomorrow, it's another sun-filled day, a little bit warmer as temperatures climb up into the 40s. Once we get into the 40s for high temperatures tomorrow, we're going to keep the high temperatures in the 40s all the way through the weekend. And as we get into Thursday, there could be a flurry or two. And then as we get into Saturday, a flurry or a sprinkle possibility, but nothing major heading our way. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at Interstate 70 at Harding Street. You can see traffic here is moving along up to speed, both eastbound and westbound on the west side of town. No delays to slow you down. Just be aware that the interstates are looking pretty good this morning, but we're hearing from some of our crews who have been out and about this morning that some of those side streets, especially out in areas like Hancock County, those are a little bit slick this morning. So just take a little bit of patience and some caution as you're heading out to work this Tuesday morning. And we'll keep you updated if there are any trouble spots you need to avoid. Raphael.
So, Lauren, all the NFL team facilities, including the Colts complex, will remain closed today. The closure is in response to a surge in COVID cases across the country. The NFL cites the surge in cases and players and staff celebrating Thanksgiving with out-of-town guests. All activities must now be done virtually, aside from players getting medical attention and rehab. Now, tonight's game between the Cowboys and the Ravens will still be played.
At 522, health experts want people to be careful about fitness programs becoming popular on TikTok. One program challenges people to eat only healthy food with no cheating and do 2 workouts a day for 75 days. The workout claims to create mental toughness. Even celebrities are posting their participation. Health experts say it's important to find a good fitness routine, but 2 workouts a day is hard on the body. Doctors say it's important to find a routine allowing the body time to rest and recover.
So feeding farm animals can be expensive. Coming up, how one farmer is taking feeding his animals to new heights, as well as, check this out, saving a lot of money. You're watching Good Morning Indiana on this December the 1st.
Welcome back. The time right now is 5:26. Move over traditional farming. Robotic vertical farming, Raphael, is here.
So, Lauren, a farm in Utah is using cutting-edge technology to feed its animals for much less. So you have to check this out this morning. Automated towers grow fresh animal feed using high technology and LED lights, as well as minimal water. The seed to harvest process takes only 6 days and produces 6,000 pounds of feed per cycle. Check that out. The farmers say the technology could not have come at a better time. They say the pandemic and this unpredictable climate concerns have threatened the food supply. Always looking for new ways, of course, to keep our cereal costing less. And so, hey, I'm all for it.
That's crazy.
And hey, feed the cows as well, right?
Yeah. The future, I guess.
Right.
There
you know, we've done farming stories here and there for the State Fair, and it always amazes me the technology that they have these days and what they can do. And of course, obviously, we need them desperately. All right, outside right now, it's cold. A lot of fields out there have some snow on them, especially off towards the east, not as much to the west. But we're in the 20s here this morning. Wind chills are in the teens in some locations. A little bit of cloud cover to start today, but as we go throughout the day, skies will become partly cloudy. It's just not going to be a warm day for us as high temperatures only climb up into the low to mid 30s. The time now is 5:27. We're back in just a couple minutes. Stay with us and we'll see you then.
From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
A federal eviction program will soon come to an end. Now at 5:30, how you can get the help you need.
An eye-opening statistic shows that suicide rates rising among Hoosier youths. Working for you this morning, we're taking a closer look at what's behind that increase and what's being done to help those young people.
The time right now is 5:31. Thanks for joining our team here on Good Morning Indiana. I was about to say Good Morning America and give us all a promotion. We do want to talk about the weather today and the roads, you guys. On an important note, we have 3 school delays that just rolled in. That includes Greenfield Central Schools, Mount Vernon Community School Corporation, and Shelby Eastern. So, Raphael, that's likely due to some slick road conditions we're learning about out in the eastern half of the state.
Well, listen, Lauren, whether you're in Times Square this morning or right here in central Indiana, in the heart of the city, it's still a chilly morning throughout the eastern part of the country. Todd Clausen.
Yeah, you really need to bundle up this morning. Lauren and I were kind of talking. It feels like the coldest morning we've had with temperatures in the 20s, wind chills in the teens, and it's just kind of that damp feel out there still. And you can see where the temperatures below freezing. We have a little ice here on our camera as you look off across the downtown skyline. Temperatures right at 28 in Indy, 30 in Lafayette, 27 in Bloomington. Here are your sustained winds out of the northwest, anywhere from 9 to 17 miles per hour. But we're still getting gusts up to about 25 miles per hour in spots. And that's putting wind chill values down into the teens in a lot of locations. So you definitely need to bundle up here this morning if you're going to be out and about, especially if you're going to be out for an extended period of time. Now, the good news is you heard Lauren mention those school delays. That's for what's on the ground already. There's nothing additional heading our way. That's all now off into Ohio. You can see a lot of snow there across the Buckeye State. But here in central Indiana, morning clouds will give way to sunshine as the day goes on. The problem is, even with the sunshine, there's just not a whole lot of warming that takes place, as high temperatures today only top off in the low to mid 30s.
Todd, thank you. And let's take a look at the roads right now to our east out in Hancock County. This is I-70 just east of Mount Comfort Road, and you can see traffic here is traveling up to speed along Interstate 70. Again, we're hearing from some of our crews who are out and about this morning that it's really the side streets out here in areas like Hancock County that will need to be careful due to the slick spots from the little bit of snow that we got yesterday in the area. So just be aware of that. And again, check out those school delays if your child is in-person learning, especially if they live to our east. A federal ban on evictions is set to expire at the end of this month. While that order does not apply to all cases, there are local resources that are here to help. If you live in Marion County, you have until 5 o'clock Wednesday evening to apply to the rental assistance program. If you've already applied, you can check the status of your application by calling the number on your screen, 317-912-1260. You can also find more information on how to apply by going to indyrent.org. And if you live in Indiana but you're outside of Marion County, there's a different rental assistance program for you. Right now, those applications are being waitlisted. The website for that is indianahousingnow.org.
Hey, Lauren, by the way, we just launched our ticker there at the bottom of your screen. We have a number of schools now calling in for a 2-hour delay, so keep on top of that. We'll make sure to give you the latest information as it comes in to the WRTV newsroom. Going on, even with that federal ban on evictions, some landlords say they cannot wait on the tenants to pay their rent. Those cases are still heading to court and could make it much harder for renters to get housing in the future. We spoke with Amy Nelson. She's the executive director of the Fair Housing Center of Central Indiana. She says some renters have not received support in enough time to prevent an eviction, and other clients have faced several barriers through the federal program.
Another barrier that we've certainly heard about here locally in Indianapolis is also some landlords who refuse to participate in the program. So tenants may have been eligible for the rental assistance, but their landlord would not participate in the program. So then they end up being evicted or having, losing out on their housing for that reason as well.
Nelson says to reach out for help if you're having a hard time making ends meet, if you feel like you're being taken advantage of, or just need help figuring out if you qualify for rental assistance. She also recommends getting legal advice if necessary. Meanwhile, evictions are blamed for contributing to the spread of COVID across the country. Researchers say people being evicted are moving in with family and friends, and those interactions increase their risk of exposure to the virus. According to their findings, evictions from March all the way through September led to 433,000 more cases of COVID-19 and more than 10,000 additional deaths.
This morning, there is hopeful news when it comes to a coronavirus vaccine. Moderna has officially applied for emergency use authorization of its vaccine. The company says it is 94.5% effective in all cases and 100% effective in preventing severe cases of the virus. Earlier this month, Pfizer also applied for the emergency authorization for its vaccine. If they are both approved, 40 million doses could be available by the end of this month. FDA regulators will hold their first meeting next week to start reviewing those vaccines.
Indiana reporting more than 36 newly reported COVID deaths and thousands of new cases. The state health department now reporting an additional 38 COVID-related deaths. Those occurred between November the 24th and November the 29th. November proving to be the deadliest month for COVID-19, with more than 1,200 Hoosiers dying with the virus. To date, 5,456 Hoosiers have died with coronavirus. State health officials also report 5,713 new COVID-19 cases in our state. A total of 338,977 people in the state have been diagnosed with the virus since March. And COVID-related hospitalizations increasing across the state. At this hour, just over 3,400 Hoosiers are in the hospital with COVID-19 or a suspected COVID diagnosis. That's a new high. 24% of the ICU beds remain available, and a little over 70% of ventilators remain available statewide. And this morning, there are more than 1,200 newly reported cases of COVID-19 across Indiana schools. That brings the total number of student cases to nearly 12,000. There are also 679 new teacher and staff cases. Students between the ages of 10 and 19, which are mostly in middle through high school, make up about 80% of all student COVID-19 cases. As of this morning, 386 schools have not reported COVID-19 information to the state. It's key to note that the state health department says schools that are fully virtual do not have to report their numbers. So these numbers that you're seeing are coming from schools that are currently doing in-person learning.
And with all the Marion County schools now virtual, IPS is offering help for families here. They're expanding their student support network. The partner-run sites offer a safe and structured place for students who need a supervised environment for children to learn remotely. Breakfast and lunch will also be provided. Registration is required. You can find a list of sites at myips.org. And IPS is also expanding its free meal program. Families can now pick up food in the morning, afternoon, or evening. Go to the district's website for specific times, days, and locations.
So it is a sensitive topic with eye-opening numbers. Suicide rates are up among young people in our state. WRTV's Kelsey Anderson joins us with more on what's behind this very key increase. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Raphael. So a jarring statistic this morning at Riley Hospital. Compared to last year, suicide attempts are up 39% in adolescents. So I talked to a clinical psychologist, and she says that in the month of November in 2020, they saw 17 adolescents in the Riley Hospital for suicide attempts. That's compared to 4 in 2019. So I spoke with Hillary Blake. She's a clinical psychologist at Riley Hospital for Children, and she says studies don't show that COVID-19 is the exact reason for the rise in suicide attempts among adolescents. She says suicide is the second most leading cause of death among adolescents, adults, and children. And she says the large majority of those who try to attempt suicide are diagnosed with depression. And she says the most important thing parents can do is talk about mental health.
I think the biggest thing is don't be afraid to talk about mental health. It's here. There's not a stigma to it. We're here to help you and, do what you can to get these kids hooked up in services so we can prevent these numbers from increasing further.
Yeah. So Blake says if you believe your child is showing signs of depression, you need to get them professional help as soon as possible. Now, she also says a big factor in mental health among children is that family and community connectedness. And that's why she says it's so important to make sure you're having plenty of positive conversations, using positive phrases with your children each and every day. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you. The time right now is 5:40, and today is Giving Tuesday. And while many of you will be opening up your hearts and your wallets to give to good causes across the world, you do want to be careful to avoid getting scammed. You want to make sure that you're giving to the organization you intend to. Many scammers will send you a message via email, text, or through social media asking you to donate. Before you do, double check the website's URL to make sure it's legit. Also look for misspellings, which can be a red flag. The Better Business Bureau says you should be cautious if the charity asks for unusual forms of payment like iTunes gift cards.
If you're going to do something online, always pay with your credit card, whether it's, you're buying something or in this case, giving. You're going to have the most protection. So watch out for gift cards, watch out for any wire transfers. If you do that, that money is almost immediately going to go outside the country.
Well, you can also run the charity's name through a website like give.org or GuideStar to see where your money will go.
So let's work together to make this happen. You can help make Christmas very bright for Central Indiana kids by donating to the WRTV Toy Drive. Drop-off sites for new unwrapped toys are at U-Store locations across central Indiana. We'll be collecting items at Indianapolis area Simon Malls this Saturday, December the 5th. For more information, go to WRTV.com/toy drive. You can also find information there about making a financial donation. What a great cause, and I hope that you'll visit. Lauren and I will be at the Greenwood Park Mall here in Johnson County on Saturday, Todd. So hopefully the weather will be nice and chill. I mean, it won't matter because we'll be inside, really.
Yeah, you'll be inside. And the weather does look pretty decent on Saturday with temperatures in the low 40s. This morning, though, it is really, really chilly out there, Raphael. Of course, we do have some school delays that are out there from yesterday's snow. Some slick spots remain here this morning, so make sure you check those out, mainly east of Indianapolis. If you are heading to the bus stop and you're not on a delay, or even when you are on a delay, it is cold out there. You really need to bundle up. Skies are mostly cloudy. Temperatures in the 20s. Coming home from school, lots of sunshine and temperatures that'll still be in the 30s. Overall, it's a very cold day with plenty of sunshine, and the snow is pretty much done. Now, going forward, once we get past tomorrow morning, which is very cold with temperatures that are going to be in the 20s, we're going to be running fairly seasonable for this time of year. Our average high is now down to 45 degrees, and we'll be pretty close to that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then all the way into the weekend. Not only will it be seasonable, the overall weather pattern is going to be fairly quiet as well. We'll dive into that in more detail for you coming up in Maine weather when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
Todd, thank you. The success of Pfizer and Moderna's vaccine trials giving health officials new hope this morning. Straight ahead, how their approvals could change the future of health care.
After being jailed for her part in the college admissions scandal, Felicity Huffman is ready to move forward. Coming up, what's next for the actress? It is 5:43 on your Tuesday. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. The time right now is 5:47. Let's go to Georgia now. President Trump is taking on the governor, Brian Kemp, criticizing him for not stepping in to overturn his election loss in that state as a recount is now underway. The president calling Kemp a, quote, disaster and pushing for him to use his emergency powers to overrule the Secretary of State. Both Kemp and the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, are also Republicans. A spokesperson for the governor responded to the criticism, saying that Georgia law prohibits the governor from interfering in elections. Now some Republicans are worried that the president's attacks could undermine the motivation of Trump supporters to participate in the Senate runoff races.
Those who are exploiting the emotions of many Trump supporters with fantastic claims, half-truths, misinformation, and frankly, they are misleading the president as well, apparently.
Raffensperger also said that a recount or headcount audit that proved no votes were switched and urged voters to participate in the runoff elections. Republicans need to win at least one of the two runoff elections to retain their majority in the U.S. Senate.
So, Lauren, Canada has now issued an order barring the bulk exportation of certain drugs outside of their country. Now, this move, it throws a wrench into President Trump's plans to bid lower prescription drug prices. Importing drugs from abroad, Canada in particular, is a centerpiece of the president's plan to reduce drug prices right here in our country. President-elect Joe Biden has also expressed interest in letting consumers import drugs from other countries, provided that the federal government deems those medications safe.
With the success of Pfizer and Moderna's COVID trials, there could be a change in how vaccines are made in the future. It has to do with how they work. Vaccines will use what's called messenger RNA technology. The virus's genetic code is injected into the body, and it can instruct the cells what antibodies to produce. Health experts say if RNA vaccines are approved, it could be a major breakthrough for other diseases and viruses.
The RNA vaccine has been tried for other infectious diseases, and also they have been investigated for cancer. There's the whole area of trying to vaccinate against cancer, which has kind of been an elusive target.
A big question with an RNA vaccine is how long its protection will last. While there are encouraging findings, there's no historical comparison to look at. At 5:49 here, Todd, we are monitoring several school delays at this hour. Those are scrolling at the bottom of your screen. They're also posted at the very top of the WRTV app. It looks like at this hour we have at least 11 school districts that are issuing 2-hour delays, most of those in areas to our east.
Yeah, and those are the areas that saw a little more in the way of snow. So as you start to plan your day out, just know that there's no additional snow coming down. So these delays are for what's on the ground already for some slick spots. So there's the delays, and as you take to the roadways, if you don't have kids or your kids aren't under a delay, just know that there are some slick spots out there, especially if your travels this morning take you into some eastern and southeastern locations. My trip through just downtown Indianapolis wasn't bad at all. The roads were pretty much dry, but just know not everybody saw the same conditions throughout the day yesterday. 28. So while we don't all have snow on the ground, we all are really, really cold here this morning. And look at that wind chill, 16 degrees. It is frigid out there. Definitely bundle up as you get going. That wind is out of the northwest at 17 miles per hour. Actual temperatures are in the 20s anywhere you go, except for Lafayette and Muncie at 30 degrees. It's 27 in Bloomington as well as Tipton. You factor in the wind, and this is what it really feels like. And some of these cities that you see here, the wind chills don't really kick in until 6 o'clock, just how they have their weather stations set up. But where they are reporting, 15 is what it feels like in Peru, 18 is what it feels like in Tipton, as well as Bloomington, and 16 is that wind chill value again in Indianapolis. As far as the winds go, still pretty gusty out there, but these winds will start to die down and relax as the day goes on. So that's the good news. We'll go from just those gusty winds like we've had overnight and now into the early morning hours to just breezy conditions throughout the afternoon and eventually into the evening. Radar is quiet. That is the good news. Throw the clouds on for you. And there's some clouds here and there across parts of the area. If you live in northern locations, just know that there could be a stray flurry, but it's not going to result in any accumulation. We do have snow, though, off to the east as we go forward throughout the course of the day today. Your travels take you in that direction. The winds will relax as we go throughout the course of the day today, and that will end the threat of any flurries to the north. And most of us see plenty of sunshine throughout the day. That sunshine, though, doesn't really help to warm us up a whole lot, as highs will only be right around 34, 35 degrees. This evening, we fall into the 20s very, very quickly. And then look where we are tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning's temperature is probably going to be running another 5-6 degrees colder than they are this morning. We get down to an actual temperature of 20 in Peru tomorrow morning, 22 in Indianapolis, 21 in Bloomington. That does not factor in the wind chill values. The wind shouldn't be all that strong tomorrow, but when you have temperatures that cold, it'll easily put wind chill values for your Wednesday morning in the teens. The good news is we rebound nicely tomorrow with temperatures back up into the low 40s, pretty seasonable, and then high temperatures are going to stay in the 40s as we work our way throughout much of next week, or into the weekend and into next week, I guess, for that matter. But low temperatures remain below freezing in the morning. So December's opening pretty dry for us, but a little on the chilly side here across the area. Lauren.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. We're keeping a close eye on traffic this morning as you're heading out the door and on the roads. As Todd mentioned, watch for any slick spots on your drive into work or even school this morning. Right here at I-65 and Stop 11 Road, things are traveling up to speed on the south side. Keep in mind, we've had that ongoing construction project on Southport Road, the on-ramp there to northbound I-65. That's set to conclude in early December, but as of this morning, that is still blocked at this time. So just keep that in mind for your morning commute. Raphael.
So Felicity Huffman is ready to make her return to acting. The 57-year-old is starring in a new pilot commissioned by ABC. The untitled show stars Huffman as a widowed woman who inherits her husband's baseball team. This is inspired by Susan Savage, who owns AAA baseball team, the Sacramento Rivercats. Huffman served 11 days of a 2-week prison sentence last October for admitting that she'd paid someone to correct her daughter's SAT answers. It was really part of a larger scam that also saw fellow actress Lori Loughlin convicted. Loughlin is still serving her prison sentence.
Still to come on Good Morning Indiana, new developments in the effort to protect homeowners from proposed solar farms out in Shelby County. We'll have all the details coming up for you at 6 o'clock. Stick around. Welcome back. Hair today, gone tomorrow. And fellas, if you can do that, shave your facial hair, that is. Raphael, you could earn some free food.
And that's because McDonald's is offering up a free McRib sandwich. The promotion is a partnership with the non-for-profit organization No Shave November. All you have to do, this is easy, is tweet a picture of your clean, shaven face with the hashtag #ShaveForMcRib sweepstakes and tag McDonald's. The first 10,000 guys to participate will get a code for a free McRib to order through Uber Eats. If you're not lucky enough to be one of the winners, you just have to wait until tomorrow when you can buy your own McRib. It comes back tomorrow officially. And if you purchase one, proceeds will help support the charity's cause. And on this Giving Tuesday, make sure you support your favorite cause. Todd Clausen, good morning to you.
Hey, Raphael, good morning to you. As you walk out the door here this morning, whether it's going to get a cup of coffee, something to eat, supporting your favorite local business, you need to bundle up. Temperatures are in the 20s, as you see on either side of me. The one exception, Lafayette, at 30 degrees. There could be a few flurries out there, but nothing of consequence on the roadways as you get going. And throughout the day today, it's going to be a chilly one. All we can do is 34 for your high temperature. Wind chills will be in the 20s throughout much of the day. The good news is the skies will be partly cloudy, and that wind, that'll start to subside as the day goes on. We'll talk more about your extended forecast and have your latest news headlines coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues here at 6 o'clock on WRTV.